Friends, welcome back. This is the seventh video in the series, and we are going to continue from where we left in the last class. So if you recall in the last class, let me open the Xcode interface for you first. And if you recall, what we did in the last class was I showed you that how to move certain UI objects on the screen programmatically using the frame command or the frame property. And we were trying to do a little trick on the screen just to refresh your memory. If I take you back here, we thought of creating only one table view and use it for both status and genre. And what we also wanted to do is move this table view next to the genre or to the status based on where the user is. So in the last tutorial, we made the table view move for the genre. It was all working. We also made sure the status is visible and invisible based upon whether you're in the genre or you're outside the genre. Okay. Quickly to showcase that to you, I'll run it and just simply show you that function, and then we'll take the chapter forward. Okay, so it's coming up. So this is how it will show. So as soon as you're in the genre, you can see the status is gone. The table view comes with the frame design the way you want to. Once you selected a value and you want to move out of it, the table view goes away and the status comes back, right? I want to do the same thing here. This time I'm not going to hide anything. The only thing to be hidden is the table view. Again, the function's the same, right? Did begin and did end. So why don't you first go and create two functions for this status, did begin and did end, and we will take it from there. So go for the split screen, click on the left hand side, click on add view controller, and make it a little small here. Click on the status, and what you do is this time I'll go to the connection inspectors, which is the last one, and you see that there's nothing connected except for the IB outlet we created last time. I need both the did begin and did end, so I will click on this and I will bring it down here, maybe right after the filter right here. Okay. All right, so click on the status, did begin, press on the control, drag it to here, status, this is editing, did begin, and make the type as UI text field and connect. Do the other one, control, bring it all the way down here, status, editing, did end, and you can see that function event here. Make from any to the UI text field and connect here. Brilliant. We have done these two connection. Exit out, create some space for yourself. Now let's first have some values. So I need to define a variable. So I'll say the variable is status array. Define a string variable, and I will keep three values: read, currently reading, and to be read. Okay, so we have the status array, we have the genre array, and what I want to do is I want to show these three values. I would need a temp variable just like in the earlier case. So I will define var status temp array string. You know how to define this, it's blank. Why do you need it? For transferring value, just like we did in the last time. So what I want to do, when you are in status did begin, right at this time, we need to do two things. First, we have to move the table up, right? So this is the same table. So I know we named a genre table view. You can change that to genre of status table view so that it looks more readable, but for now I'm not going to do that change. Simply say genre table view dot frame is equal to CJ rectangle. You know how to draw this from the last time, and take the init function with 4 values, right? X, Y, width and height. Take this. Just like this, I would say this will be, you can take anything, but I'll take status 1, so that it will be easy to reference. Status dot frame, status text field dot frame dot origin dot x. The x will be exactly the same, so is the y. So is the width. I'll say status text field dot frame dot origin dot width. Okay. Oh, sorry. Frame dot width. I'm sorry. And height should be 350 again. And the y should be how much? Status text field dot frame dot origin dot y plus the width of the status field, right? So we can say status text field dot frame dot height. Taken that, and I'll just add 1 just like I did in the last time. All right, so this will put this at the right place. I have to also make it visible, so I'll say genre table view dot is hidden is equal to false. I don't want to make it hidden anymore. And then what do I need to do? Once okay, let's first run this and see what happens here before we go any further. So when you run this, the genre was working before. You move out of the genre, you get the status. When you click on the status, it shows you the text field, but it shows the old value. Why is that? So let's learn that. Let it keep running. You come to the table view, because what it is doing is it's showing you the count of the genre array. If you recall, there were 2 functions, right? One is the number of rows in section, which says give me the genre array count, which is this one. And then you are also pulling the value from the genre array and showcasing the value. How do I change this? So all I have to do is, I don't have to change any of these. All I have to do when you are beginning the editing, let me stop this. What I will do is I'll make genre array, which is what the table view knows, right? If you go down below, genre array is what it knows, right? I'll say the genre array value is now different, which is equal to status array. Moment I do that, my genre array becomes status array. It will show you all the value. And you know that for showing anything, to let the table know that it has to redo everything, you have to do the genre table view dot reload value. I know the name may be confusing because now I'm using genre to showing status. You can go ahead and change the name of the variable and the linkage accordingly, but for now I'm using the same table to showcase a status value. Okay, so when you say reload table, you've done the changes, it will show you the value, but there is still a problem. Let me tell you what that problem is, but let me first run this. Okay, so here you come. It says read currently read and to be read, but I am still in the genre. That's because I'm sorry, I did the change in the wrong place. So do this in the status one. Where is the status? Status is right here, so you have to do it here. My bad. So you have to do, when you're doing in the status, then you have to pick the status array over here. So let's run this again. Okay, so genre should work perfectly fine. Come out of this, go to status. Great, the status is working as well. But now you see what happens if I go to genre again. The genre also shows the same value. Why is that? Because the genre array no longer holds the old value, and I have not stored the old value anywhere, so it is all gone. So you have learned this in the last filter exercise. I'll do the same. So before I make when I'm doing the status array equal to genre array, I am also going to store the status array in a status temp array. So I'll say status temp array. If you recall, I created this, and I will pass all my status array value to this. And as soon as I'm moving out, which is editing end, I need to do two things. I have to make the genre table view is hidden. I have to hide this, so equal to true. and I have to make genre array equals to status temp array. Sorry. I'm sorry, this is status temp array. I'm sorry, I have to store in genre temp array, right? If you recall, genre temp array equals to genre array. I have to pass all the value of the genre array to genre temp array. After I do that, then I replace this. So that what I have done is I have moved all of my genre array value to a temp array, and now if I change it, the old values are stored in genre temp array, and all I'm doing is when the editing is ending, I'm making a genre array again, the value to genre temp array. It's like I'm saving all these values here and I'm putting it back again where it belongs to. Okay, so if you run this now, it should work like a charm. So go here, it was already working, great. Come out of it, go here, wonderful, it shows you all the three currently reading. What is happening here? When I click on this, it is changing a genre, not here. So I'll come to that later. But if you come here and click here, it's not showing the value again, right? So you need to fix this, and we have to also see why it is populating the value accordingly here. Okay, so let's stop this and see that what mistake we have done. Why is it not showing it? The reason it's not showing is that while I have assigned the value, when the first time you go to editing the genre, I have to reload it here as well, otherwise it will show the old value. So that's, you know, if you don't reload, it doesn't know that it has the old value. It will show the new value, it will show the old value. So you take the table view and reload it here. Let's first see if this problem is fixed before you go for the next one. Okay, so I click here, I get really wonderful. I click here, I get what I need, but when I click on this, it updates the previous ones. I'll tell you why in a little later. But I come back here, I get all the old values. Great. Now, why is the value coming on the top bar? It's coming because if you see, table view has another function, which is did select row, and the did select row doesn't know whether in status on genre, and it is only doing for the genre text field. So no matter where you are, that value is taken and it's put over here. So what we need to do is we need to put a small flag to know where we are, so that we can pull the right value accordingly from the variable and put in the right text field. Okay, so the way to do that is, let's put a flag, a boolean flag right up here. Let's say var, we'll say this is status or genre. Okay, I'll make it a boolean. Boolean is always true or false. Okay, and I can by default say, you know what, I will simply say is genre. Little easy to read, I'm sorry. So is genre, by default it is always true, because the first time it is always genre, next time it is not, right? And what I'll do is, whenever I am edit did begin of genre here, I will make that flag is genre always true, and when I am in status editing did begin, I will make this genre false. So that way, by checking this, I know that whether it is genre or not, right? And then when I come here and see, this is a class level variable, so every function can see it. Why? Because I've defined it right over here, right? And when I come over here, which is the did select row, I simply put a condition here. If is genre, if it is genre, then do this edit or do this change. If it is not, you know, it is status. So status text field, you know exactly which is genre, I'm sorry, status text field dot text equals to, variable is same because you always update this with the value that you need. I know the name can be confusing, but for now I'll use the same name. It will put in the status text field. Go ahead and run this and see if it is working, and then we'll do a quick recap of what we have done. Come here, this works like a charm. Come here, this works like a charm too. Come back, this works like charm. Come back, Perfect. So you've used few things you've achieved. First, you have used the same table view to select value. Second is, so you have not created multiple table views. Second is, you have also made sure that it is coming and going and showing the right values. And third, the right values are populated on the text field. Okay. I want to do a quick recap with you so that you can revisit the whole concept once again. So what I'll do is I'll stop this and run it, and I'll show you function by function it is going along. Okay. The first is genre. So genre has two functions: did begin, editing did begin, and editing did end. So when the editing did begin happens, we did few things. This we have done before. We have made the table visible. So as soon as you click, the table is visible. We made sure that the genre array is stored in the genre temp array. This is required because I'm going to change the genre array from the status. If and that happens, all of the old genre array I want it back in the genre temp array. And actually the other way around, I should say, I'm sorry, this should be, let me stop this. This should be genre array equals to genre temp array, right? So whatever you stored in the temp variable, you want to make the genre array again like this. Okay, so let's run this again. Okay, so when you click, I have not yet clicked, but when you click, the table will be visible. If you have changed it, if you've gone to status already, the temp array variable, all the old genre values are stored, you store it back to genre array. You make sure that you're saying yes, I am in genre, so which is genre equal to true, which is required for selection. You make the status bars hidden. You have learned the frame, you move the table next to the genre, and it works like a charm. Come here. Oh, you know what, why it is blank? Because first time it is blank. So what you can do is genre temp array for the time being. Where is the genre temp array? Make it the same and it'll work. Okay, so I come here. Perfect, I get everything. So when I select, what happens? So come here to the select, did select part. When I select, you know the genre is true. You have set already when the beginning is, when you clicked here, it is already true. You checked if it is true, this part is evaluated. So only the genre text field is populated, which is what is happening. You come out of it. When you come out, what will happen? That genre did end will be called, which is right, this one. You make the table hidden, but you make the status field visible. This is exactly what you have done. Now when you click on this, the did begin of the status will be called. You're doing the same thing, but for the status, you make the genre table view again visible, but at a different point, which is what this is doing. You're making sure that you're telling the computer or the function that is genre is false because it's in status. You store, before you do anything with the genre array, you take the old genre array value and put it in temp array. And then you take the status array, which is your all these three statuses, and you put it in your genre array, because the table view only knows genre array, and you reload the table, which is these functions are called, but now the genre array has all the status values. So let's see what happens. When you click on this, all these three values are shown. When you click on any of this, did select will be called. Its genre is already false, so this line will be called and store the value right here. If you click here, it goes here. Come out, click here, it goes here, and it works like a charm. There's one last thing I want to teach you today, and we will call it a day. See, unlike the fiction, non-fiction, of where I wanted you to type things, right? Because you may have something in the list, you may want to type which is not in the list. I don't want to do the same thing here. I don't want user to type anything. User can only select from the list. How do you do that? To do that, you have to, there is another property known as is enabled, just like is hidden, and to make it false. So what you can do is, there are two ways to do it. You can either put a label. Label is always read only, or if you put a text field, doesn't matter. In your view did load, as soon as the view is loaded, just remember how you made the table view hidden when the view is loading. Same way you can say status text field dot is enabled equals to false. So you always want this to be false. You'll not change this, so you cannot type there. So you can run this again, and you can see that this you can type, this you cannot. But here's another problem. Since you cannot type here, the text field is not shown here. So what do you do with that? So I will leave you with that as an exercise. Try to see if you can get it done. And there are many ways to do it. A hint I can give you is that instead of showing a text field or a label, you can use a button, and you can show the value in the button, and button has a click function which can be trapped to show the table accordingly. So I leave you with that exercise. Hope you like what you saw, and I look forward to seeing you in the next class. Thank you. Bye.